Papa, thanks for coming. I'm going to be asking you some questions about who you are when you were my age and who you are now in those two different perspectives.
All right.
So, tell me a little bit about your family when you were growing up.
So as growing up, I had three brothers. My parents lived in the same house. We had 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and about 1,000 square feet. We lived out in the desert, in a little desert community. My dad was an independent businessman. My mother worked as a real estate salesperson.
Now, I mean, I've often heard the stereotype that women didn't really work back then. Was that different? Was that special for her to be working like that?
It was special, and it was really required because my dad never was very successful as an entrepreneur. He tried a lot of different things, and none of them ever worked.
Right. When you were growing up, did you ever experience any sort of prejudice or discrimination because of the status of your family or where you were growing up?
So probably the most significant issue of that type was when I was 17 and a junior in high school. The nominations came out for Boys State in the state of California, which is a really big deal. And there was supposed to be one from each of the communities.
Like just the small counties.
In my particular area, our school had 2 nominations, one from the major town, which was 29 Palms, and then one from the other towns, which were Joshua Tree and Yucca Valley.
Okay.
I was clearly the one who should have been selected from the other communities. And they picked a second person from 29 Palms. And it was very, very disappointing that I didn't get to do that. And I think it was just because of where I lived and I wasn't close enough to the decision makers at the time.
Right. Did you have any struggles growing up with, did you have to work for your family? Did you have to work to pay for anything significant for yourself?
So my whole life I've worked. I had a paper route.
Yeah.
The good news is I had a motor scooter because the paper route was 26 miles long, going from home to home. I also shined shoes and things of that type just to have spending money because my parents didn't have enough income to be able to share. Remember, there were 4 of us.
Right.
And so they did the best they could.
Mm-hmm.
It just meant everybody had to take care of themselves.
Right. So working man since the very beginning. Religiously, did your family have any religious traditions, or were you guys strong Christians?
So my parents were not involved in the church at all, but I had a family friend who led that part of my life and got me involved in church early, about 14, 15 years old, and I became a Christian when I was 16.
Did you continue, like, were you devout Christian, church every Sunday? Did you continue that practice, or was it kind of like a every other week sort of practice?
So we was pretty consistent through high school and college, and then during the years when your mother was born, and up until she passed away, we were pretty active in attending church and the services and our beliefs.
Right.
We weren't really involved in doing a lot of things for others at the time.
Okay. Back to your class status and growing up in your small town. You're growing up and going to college. Was it the same story for you? As work for your spending money, work for your school?
So put it in perspective. In my high school, our counselor said none of the kids was smart enough to go to college. 2 of us did. We went to UCLA. I paid my way through. The good news is a lot less expensive than today. Tuition was $52 a semester.
Oh my gosh.
So I was able to work during the summers and during school, and I could pay all my expenses and I came out of college debt-free and was thrilled.
It's amazing. It almost never happens anymore. So fast forward for a little bit to who you are now, to Steve Stein in your 70s. Have you ever experienced any unearned advantages because of your age, or technically as an older person you're part of the subordinate group of aged people in society, or that's how you're categorized? Have you ever experienced any unearned advantages because of that?
Interesting question. Unearned advantage. There are tremendous programs for seniors. For example, through Social Security, we can get the Silver Sneakers program that gives us access to gyms and yoga and things like that to help our health long term. We get discounts everywhere we go. So it's kind of exciting to be in this age group and be recognized for that.
Right. Do you feel like you would have otherwise, if not for these programs, been quote unquote cast aside?
Oh no, I was very fortunate throughout my whole work career that clearly these advantages are just there.
Right.
But I could afford to continue to live without them.
Do you think, I mean, obviously I'm quite blessed with my age and with my family and all that, and you as with your company, do you think a lot of people who don't have these same blessings have been cast aside if it weren't for these programs? Do you think they would be?
I think these programs are very, very helpful. The organizations that I go to, based on where I live, I don't see a lot of the underprivileged people being involved in the same things that I am.
Right.
But back to our discussion on religion, I'm now much more involved in the church and helping others.
I know I keep bouncing around, but you just brought up religion. When you said after Nancy passed away, like you kind of religiously, it was a little rocky, and until when did, like between then and when did it start to turn up for you, or did you start to become more involved again?
So I became more involved just a couple of years before I moved to Denver, which was a year and a half ago. And then when I moved to Denver, one of the first things I did is went out to look at the churches to find one that I was comfortable with. And I found that, and it's been very powerful.
With religion, regarding religion again, so when you were growing up, like when you were a preteen or when you were just a kid, 10, 12, you were non-Christian, not very involved.
We didn't go to church at all.
And then your friends or your family friends got you involved, right? And then you were kind of Christian, non-Christian, off and on for a little while.
So I started going to the church with my friends, the Peters family, and we went to an event in Palm Springs when I was 17.
Okay.
And it was very powerful. And that is the point at which I made the decision to become a Christian for the rest of my life, and committed it.
That's a big decision. I mean, I myself, I've been Catholic pretty much my whole life. I probably converted when I was 6 because that was what my mom and brother were doing, but it's a huge deal to be a part of that.
It is.
Do you ever wish, when you were growing up, people understood what it was like to live in your family? Do you ever think people never tried to empathize with you or never tried to understand your situation?
I don't think we really ever thought about those kinds of things. We were just focused on making sure that we got everything done that we had to do from a work standpoint and from school. School was important to my mother. She wanted us to go to college.
Right.
Ultimately, 3 of the 4 boys graduated.
That's big. And that was in a town where not many kids went to college.
I was the only one from my town that went to school in my class.
And the rest just, worked in the family business, or?
The others? Yeah, so as I have looked back, one is a plumber, one's a contractor, they did things of that type. Some of them later went on to college, but straight out of high school, I was the only one.
Do you think your town and your small town was specifically discriminated against because of the education achievements purely?
So this is a small town that its only purpose for being was a place in the high desert where people with arthritis could come to retire. So we supported that community. So we had no incentives to do anything other than the everyday contracting, plumbing, retail, whatever. That's all we knew.
I see. Okay. Last question here. I know you told me that one story about Boys State.
Mm-hmm.
But was there any other super significant story, either in your present time right now, or back when you were growing up, or just in college, or anything where you felt like you were discriminated against for any reason because of your religion, or because of your age, or your status?
I've been the luckiest guy in America. So, no. I was fortunate that I got through high school successfully. I got through college successfully. I served in the military successfully, which the military actually led to my career in computer technology, and I've been there for 50 years.
Wow, that's pretty great. All right, thanks, Papa.
You bet.